It's 5 o'clock. I now call the study session of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Rutherford,
Here.
Commissioner Rankin, Commissioner Evans,
Here.
Commissioner Griffiths,
Here.
Commissioner Laney, Vice Chairperson King, Chairperson Zurcher.
Here. Moving on to item number 3, discussion items. No action will be taken on this item. Is Attainable Housing Task Force.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, thank you. The item before you is the Attainable Housing Report 2023. It's a discussion-only item. The Attainable Housing Task Force has been diligently working on solutions to the workforce housing dilemma for several months. Mayor Palguda formed the task force to examine the current status of housing in the community and to provide recommendations that move the town closer to the goals and the objectives established in our General Plan Update 2035. Mr. Cal Nye, the chairman of the task force, will present their findings and recommendations tonight, and I'd like to introduce you at this time. Sir, thank you for coming.
Mr. Nye, welcome. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Sometimes you might have to raise the mic up a little bit. It's sometimes a little hard to hear if you don't raise the mic up.
Okay, let me know if it's not coming through.
Yeah, you're gonna
I
have to
will
raise the
speak
mic
up.
up. You're gonna have to raise the mic up, sir. Yep, you just pick it up. Just
They
pick it
had
up.
a,
Yep.
they had a platform previously for it. but-
If-
Yeah,
if-
really. Chair and, oh,
There we go.
well,
There we go. There we have it.
there we
All
go.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, it is.
Chair and Commissioners, we, the Attainable Housing Task Force, are happy to be here and present to you the results of our work. Thank you for this meeting where we can share with you our findings and recommendations. I'm Cal Nye, the Task Force Chairman. We are hopeful that you will leave this meeting with an increased awareness of the seriousness of the attainable housing shortage in Prescott Valley and a sense of urgency for supporting the implementation of our proposed strategy as soon as possible. As a point of clarification, we're using the term attainable housing versus affordable housing. This definition holds that housing is attainable when it consumes no more than 30% of households' gross pre-tax income. Commissioners, as you are likely already aware, our beloved town of Prescott Valley has a serious and growing housing cost problem. Median and below median income individuals and families can no longer afford to live here. As a result, many important job positions are left unfilled. Job applicants often do not accept offers because they are unable to find housing here that they can afford. And some workers who have been living here are leaving because their rent is now too high. We are honored to present to you the seriousness of our housing cost problem. As you can see from this slide, Prescott Valley has many unfilled jobs. Also, local contractors and other businesses are unable to hire and retain the needed employees. Now, of course, the fact that these organizations have open positions is nothing new. What is significant here is the extremely high number of open positions. Latest figures for Prescott Valley show that 51% of renters are cost burdened. The term cost burdened is commonly defined as spending more than 30% of income for rent and utilities. The national recommended standard is that we pay not more than 30% of our incomes for housing. To clarify this chart just a little bit, if you look down the left column, you see the 35,000 to 49,000 range, and then over to the right column, 35%. And what that tells us is that in that household income range, 35% of them in Prescott Valley are paying more than 30% for their housing. When residents must spend a high percentage of their income on housing, they are put in a position to make difficult choices and sacrifices. Medical and dental care gets put off. The quantity and quality of food decreases. Children are more often left with poor nutrition and no adult supervision as parents work multiple jobs. Marital conflicts and divorces increase when families are financially stressed. And at a community level, crime rates increase. Local business suffers in two main ways: absenteeism and inability to fill job positions. Fortunately, and to your credit, Prescott Valley town leadership is astutely aware of this attainable housing shortage. They are also aware that the reasons for the shortage are many and varied, that there is no simple one-size-fits-all solution, and that this attainable housing shortage is a community-wide problem in that it affects many individuals, families, and organizations within our town. These factors in mind, the mayor created our Attainable Housing Task Force. It was created to take an in-depth look at the housing market and needs within the town and across the region and advise the mayor and council on policy and programs consistent with the general plan and objectives. Vice Mayor Hunt is an advisor to our task force. Shown here are our task force members. This has been a very enjoyable group of people to become acquainted with and to work with. And we are hopeful that you will find our work and resulting recommendations to be both reasonable and attainable. Our first task force meeting was on October 7th of last year, 2022. Over the past 6 months, we have met 11 times in 2-hour-long meetings at the Civic Center. It is noted that our task force members spent many additional hours doing between meetings research to learn about possible ways that towns can create more attainable housing. Our work process started with defining our goal, which is to make recommendations to the Prescott Valley Town Council for ways to increase the supply of attainable housing. While the recommended individual actions are numerous, the task force looked at broad categories by which to develop these individual tactics. These categories are impediments that exist, which limit attainable housing creation and sustainability, incentives that exist to create attainable housing, which are effective, and incentives that could be adopted to generate additional projects. And finally, modeling other jurisdiction strategies that have been successful in the creation and sustainment of attainable housing. One meeting was spent on completion of a SWOT analysis. SWOT is an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The results of this analysis can be found on pages 10 and 11 of the report. As you can see on these two slides, several items were identified in each SWOT category. Our research revealed many ways in which town governments can encourage and facilitate the creation of attainable housing. A survey of local contractors was very helpful. Their experience and opinions about barriers to the construction of attainable housing are here consolidated into these three main categories: rising construction and development costs, policies and regulations, zoning that limits density. We have incorporated these important builder-developer perspectives into our recommendations. Our task force report recommends 36 strategy actions that the town of Prescott Valley can do to increase the availability of attainable housing. These actions are organized into 4 impact areas. These are organizational capacity, knowledge base, partnership, and incentives. In the interest of brevity, I will not here speak to each of these impact areas. I will, however, call attention to our first recommendation, which our task force members agreed is essential to the successful creation of sufficient attainable housing in Prescott Valley. And that is to create a new housing facilitator position with detailed job description and the responsibility and authority to lead the implementation of the task force report's 36-item attainable housing strategy. The strategy items in a report list the detailed recommendations by priority category. In summary, we task force members commend you for addressing this growing Prescott Valley housing need. And I think I can speak for all of our members when I say that it has been our pleasure to offer our assistance to this important housing initiative. After much discussion regarding how to format and what to include in the report, we believe that you will find our recommendations to be both understandable and doable. So, commissioners, to coin a popular phrase, an attainable housing ball is now in your court. We task force members are hopeful that you will enthusiastically run with it. Thank you again for allowing us time to share this attainable housing report with you. That concludes my presentation, so we will take your questions.
All right, Mr. Nye, thank you very much for your presentation. At this time, are there any questions from the commission? Commissioner Evans?
Thank you all on the task force very, very much. It's obviously a mountain of work that you've accomplished over the last 6 months, and we thank you very, very heartily for that effort. Rather than take up a lot of time, I had some comments that I put in a memo that I can arrange to have distributed to the task force members tomorrow. It's just some thoughts on different sorts of approaches in defining the problem, maybe tackling it as sort of layers of an onion. For example, and I see this issue as on a continuum from what I would call enlightened socioeconomic self-interest all the way to social justice. And I think along that continuum, there are different solutions that can apply, some of them very economic and definable others not so easily done. So I'll definitely make that memo available if it's helpful to you folks on the task force or to the housing coordinator. If anybody wants to get together to discuss it in more detail, I'm an old retired guy, so all I have is time, and I'd be happy to kind of expand on this memo. One last thing, though. I was a little bit mystified by the arithmetic on page 23, which compares manufactured housing to existing and new traditional housing. It came out with like a $125,000 baseline for buying a manufactured home. I think that number is probably at least twice that, so I was confused by the presentation and the arithmetic. I don't need an answer right this minute, but maybe whoever prepared that table could give me a buzz and we could chat about it. But again, thank you, a mountain of work, and greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you and all of your task force members.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Evans. We are open to ideas and thoughts, questions. So,
Questions from the commission? Jim Laney?
Sorry. I would like to thank you and the task force for an amazing job. In fact, I commented it's about 1/8. It looks like it's about 1/8 of the general plan that we put together. You have on your graph households. Have you defined an average household? How many occupants?
we have that in our data, in the report.
Oh, in here?
It's
Okay.
in there. Prescott Valley kind of excels in the number of individuals in the households relative to the other market area communities. But I'm pretty sure that specific definition is there in the report, but I don't recall offhand.
Thank
what
you.
the
I just
number
haven't
is.
had a chance to read it.
Have a number on that?
2.39 is the median household.
2.39. 2.39 is the median,
9,
is the median number.
thank you.
Commissioner Griffiths?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Nye, for the presentation. I'm quite proud of the town of Prescott Valley in that they could see the housing affordability crisis that they're faced with. And I feel that this report that your committee put together certainly enhances the affordability component and really brings it home. So good work, kudos to you and your team. Just a out of the gate, excellent report. So I hope that you are proud of the work that you and your committee did. To answer Mr. Evans' questions on the arithmetic, manufactured homes can start as low as $70,000 for a 800 square foot home, and those are being sold right now on our market left and right. They can also go up to probably $320,000+. So I feel that that arithmetic in the report was pretty accurate. And also, which I found very interesting with the report, is that with all of the impact areas, you were able to develop short-term, mid-term, long-term, and ongoing processes. So this affordable, attainable housing strategy, I am confident, will be going on for quite some time. So thank you, sir, for bringing this forward.
Any other
Sure
questions?
thing, Commissioner Griffiths, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Mr. Nye, I just want to echo what my fellow commissioners have said and just thank you and the members of the task force for just an amazing job on this report, and appreciate you taking the time out this evening to just deliver, little highlights of it to us this evening. Oh, Commissioner Griffiths has one more thing.
You know, I just never stop at one. I will share that with you. I see that some of your committee members are in the audience, and I would love for you to acknowledge and introduce them for the rest of our people here tonight.
Sure. Who do we? Why don't you stand up? Let's do this. Dave Smith?
Go ahead and come up to the mic, just so we can hear you.
I'll go to Dave Smith. Michael Carson. Do we have any others?
Couple more.
Oh, there's,
Oh. Edie Harless? Anyone else? Okay.
Eh,
Oh. Allison Lineker? So,
And Commissioner Griffiths, thank you
and of course,
as well for
Thank
your.
you.
Sandy Griffiths.
oh,
But again, Mr. Nye,
Sandy
the
Griffiths?
high-level strategy that you were able to put together is pretty heartwarming, so thank you.
my pleasure.
Thank you again. At this time, we're going to, is there a motion to adjourn the study session?
I'll move to adjourn the study session.
Is there a second?
Thank you, Mr.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned for a few minutes until we come back for the regular session.